Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Susie Cambick. I'm a life coach who loves to cook, and so today I have a really great recipe. Oh my gosh, you guys have to try this. If you love gyros, if you love Greek food, this one will knock your socks off. It is a Greek meatball recipe that has become a quick family favorite in my household. And I'm going to show you not only how to make it, but how to make some in advance so that you can freeze them and give yourself the gift of having prepared homemade meal in the freezer anytime you need something quick and easy. And the best part is we're going to make it all in the air fryer when we're done. And so it's very low mess and big flavors. So here's the recipe. I hope you will try this soon. If you love this recipe, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and there are more of these to come. First, we're going to start by zesting the peel of 2 lemons. Make sure to only get the yellow part of the peel using a small grater. If you get white parts, you're going to end up with bitter flavor. Next, we're going to add several herbs and spices. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of dried dill, 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary. I didn't have enough, so I chopped up some fresh that I had on hand to go along with it. When using fresh herbs, you always want to use more of them than what the recipe calls for dried. Dried herbs are more concentrated in flavor. So I'm giving this a really fine chop, and I'm going to add it into the bowl. 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. You can use less depending on the desired level of spice. 2 teaspoons of cumin and 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. I'm going to add in 4 eggs next, and then I'm going to follow that up with a half cup of dried breadcrumbs. For this recipe, I'm going to use 2 pounds of ground lamb and 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm doubling the recipe here so that I can freeze and give myself the convenience of an easy pre-made meal later. And now we mix. Your hands are your best tool here, and go ahead and mix this very thoroughly until all of those herbs and spices are combined throughout the meat mixture. It takes a little work here, but I promise you'll love the reward of having all of those herbs and spices nicely blended through every meatball that you go ahead and sink your teeth into. Now that the mixture has completely mixed, I'm going to go ahead and take a 3 tablespoon cookie scoop and evenly scoop out individual meatballs. Now, I could take the time in between each of the scoops here to roll the meatballs out, but I find that it is more time efficient if I go ahead and scoop out all of the meat mixture first and then roll them individually by hand. Instead of doing meatballs, you could certainly do these in the form of burgers instead. We've had them this way as well, and they are delicious. I'm making meatballs here because I'm going to be out of town periodically between now and the next month or so, and I want the boys to be able to have some extras in the freezer so that they can just pop them in the air fryer and cook them while I'm out of town, and it's a nice pre-made convenience food item. Next, I'm going to lay them flat and freeze them on the cookie sheet before transferring them into freezer bags so that they stay separated and don't turn into a big lump of meat. Next, we're going to preheat the air fryer to 400 degrees for a couple of minutes. We're going to spray the air fryer with some cooking spray in order to make sure that the meatballs don't stick. and then place a single layer of the raw frozen meatballs into the air fryer. Mine fits 9 in a single layer, which is perfect for me and the boys. We are going to go ahead and set the temperature down to 380 degrees Fahrenheit and then cook them on the air fry mode for 13 minutes. When 13 minutes is up, we will flip these over and make sure that we get an even brown on both sides. And then we're going to air fry them again for 4 minutes on the other side. The meatballs are ready to eat when they've reached an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Tzatziki sauce or cucumber sauce is a sauce that pairs very well with Greek dishes. To make it, we're taking 10 ounces of an English cucumber and grating it up very fine. We are then next going to remove any of the excess moisture that has occurred during the grating process. You can use your hands to squeeze it out manually, or you can go ahead and grab a piece of cheesecloth and filter the cucumber through it. Either way works depending on what you have on hand. I find that the cheesecloth makes it a little less messy, but honestly, either method works. Just cut the cheesecloth to the right size for the project that you're doing. And then you just use the cheesecloth as a method to wring out the cucumber. So you can squeeze it, you can twist it around like you see me doing here. And as you're doing that, all of the juice comes out of the cucumber. And then you're left with pretty dry cucumber that you can then easily wipe off the cheesecloth and go ahead and put into your bowl. Next, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, to that we will also add 1.5 tablespoons of dry dill. If you have fresh, you can go ahead and use it. Just remember, you may want to use a little bit more of it in order to get the same flavor profile as the dried. 1 cup of Greek yogurt goes in next, and then 1 big old clove of garlic. I love garlic. It is my love language. It is my favorite food, and so I make sure I go heavy on the garlic. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I just cut a lemon in half and put it through this juicer. I'm going to give this a good mix, making sure to break up the cucumber and make sure that it is not in big clumps so that it's nice and smooth of a sauce. And then once I'm done spinning that around a few times, I'm going to add some salt and pepper to taste. Give it another stir, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste here to make sure that all of the herbs and spices are on point, and they certainly are. So the last little touch is I'm going to drizzle the top with some extra virgin olive oil and pop it in the fridge. Next, I'm going to put it all together here by chopping up some vegetables that will go on top of our meatball sandwiches that we're making. So here's a sad looking red onion that I had in the fridge, so I'm using up what I have. These will be delicious on the sandwiches that we're making. And so next I'm going to get out some feta cheese and then cut up a little bit of tomato that we have left in the house as well. I forgot to record myself cutting up the cucumber, but now you can see here that I am putting together the sandwich. So I have a pita that my son grilled out on the grill for me. I've added 3 Greek meatballs, and then I'm topping it with the toppings. So here I have some tzatziki sauce that I'm putting on there. And I will also add some of the onions and the cucumbers. I don't really care for tomatoes in this particular form, so I'm going to leave those out, but I will definitely add some of that feta cheese. You guys, I cannot tell you how good these meatballs are. This has become a family favorite, and I encourage you to try this recipe. It absolutely rocks.